I've got a good feeling about this episode. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Star Wars Reviewed. We are talking all things Star Wars, but today specifically, Solo, a Star Wars story. In our continuing series, we've got a nice discussion ahead. Hope you'll join us for the ride at twitch.tv/thegeekiverse, watching it back at youtube.com/thegeekiverse, or listening to podcast services around the globe. I'm Josiah Leroy. With me today, I'm flipping the script, just like the mic check. I'm going to Tim Talbot first. Tim! You ready to talk some Star Wars?
I am very ready. We're getting close. I'm excited for the last movie. So
I know the end is in sight here. It's a little bit bittersweet.
Yeah, I was excited because this is the first time I've seen Solo. So we're in uncharted territory now. So excited.
Got lots and lots and lots to talk about. I think I've got some, maybe I don't have controversial opinions on it. We'll wait till the end of the show when we rank this thing. John, Solo, a Star Wars story. You ready to go?
Controversy on our podcast? No, it wouldn't happen.
Never happened.
It wouldn't happen.
I don't believe it.
JT is not here to provide his Morbius analysis, so we're okay. But guys, we're wearing some awesome shirts if you're watching on video form here. Look at that. John's got the Buffalo Marvel, got the Buffalo Sega on Tim. I've got the Buffalo Nintendo. Shout out to our friends over at 26 Shirts. Go to 26shirts.com. Our awesome friend Dell, who is a fan of Solo, by the way. Hoping he sees this on Twitter. 26shirts.com. What do? They sell t-shirts just like this, pop culture themed stuff. Not a month goes by where one of us doesn't send a picture into the group chat and the rest of us go, damn it, I need that shirt. We're waiting for our next order here. We did it. I think we've put in an order a month here, but you know what? It's all for a good cause. Not only are you getting an awesome t-shirt, or a few, depending on who you're looking at here, but also portions of every shirt and sale go to a family in need, a charity in need, an individual in need. Recently, 26 Shirts has surpassed $1.4 million in which they've given directly to beneficiaries. We're proud just to know those guys, but you should check them out for yourself. Again, 26shirts.com.
Wow. I remember when we started the MCU Reviewed, and they were obviously our first sponsor with that, and they were just closing in on 1 million. We were just creeping up to that 1 million mark when we started the MCU Reviewed, and now we're getting close to 1.5. Just crazy.
It is crazy. It's awesome just to follow those guys and see what they do. But close to, almost getting to 10 years in business, and that's a lot of money that has gone directly to that. So big hearts, incredible stuff that's going on to truly help our community in Western New York and some other ones as well, if you check out the website. So that being said, we're talking about Solo, a Star Wars story, the second anthology movie in the Star Wars movie franchise. All right, fellas, the Steelbook. John, do you know what the Steelbook looks like?
I'm gonna guess Han Solo's on it.
Okay, you'd be wrong. Tim?
Is it just the Falcon?
I said Tim. Yeah, we got the Millennium Falcon right there on the Steelbook 4K edition.
I was actually gonna guess that.
You were going to guess the Falcon? Weird.
Oh, who else would it be if it's not Han Solo?
Yeah, if Han's not on it, that's not a person. It's kind of what it comes down to.
On the back, which is kind of cool.
Maybe Londo. I guess maybe Londo. Throw Londo on there, but
are you saying Londo? Are you saying it like that because he says Han is Han?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the point of it. We discussed this on the previous episodes. Were you not here for episode 4?
I don't know.
Attack of the Clone coming at you hardcore, buddy. I'm gonna accidentally say Londo now, and I've said Lando for the last 20 years. So damn,
it's Han.
Han. We got Chewie. We got Han. We have Lando, and we have Kira on the back of the Steelbook here. This is the only Star Wars movie I only own one copy of.
Wow,
that is very surprising.
Kinda, I guess, but came out in 2018 here. First reactions on the film. I do want to go to Tim again just because he is fresh off of this. This is his first viewing of this, which is kind of exciting to us. And when we watch Rise of Skywalker, we're going to watch it together. That will be Tim's first viewing. We only get so many chances to do this. So Tim, take it away. What's sinking in here? What did you think of the movie overall?
Before I get to that, though, I would definitely like to request some popcorn at this movie.
Oh, I've got plenty of popcorn buckets. So we're good.
I need at least 2 packages of floss.
Got him.
Okay.
For the movie.
We can make that happen. We'll split up, divide and conquer. John, you get the popcorn, I get the floss.
Easy.
There you go.
So I'm very fresh off the movie. I just finished it 20 minutes ago. I was gonna try to watch it earlier today,
You're telling me you were not watching Busy Sticks?
I did the background. I was also opening my Steam Deck in the past 20 minutes too, so there's that.
So how could you
Stay
focus?
tuned.
Okay, Solo, go ahead.
Anyways, so I just finished it. I liked it a lot. I must say, I liked it a lot for what it was. Again, I think I've covered this a little bit when I've said this. It to me is a movie in the Star Wars universe, not about Jedi lightsabers. It's about a story about, hey, if let's just in the world pretend that there was never a Jedi or lightsabers, that stuff didn't happen. This is what I kind of picture a movie being about. Let's say at the end of the series they had no more Jedi. I feel like a movie like this could sustain itself in a Star Wars world because it just does a very good job of building on the storyline without actually doing too much. I still love light, and I do love how they had to throw a lightsaber in there at the end just to kind of make sure you saw one, even though it was in their 4K, resolution screen. But I liked it a lot. I was a little weird for me to kind of see someone else playing Han. But I did like it. I liked the storyline. I thought it was well done, and it was a fun movie to watch. I wouldn't say it's like I would go back and make sure I watched it when I watched all the series again, but I think it's a fun standalone movie. So
I think that's a pretty solid take overall. John, your thoughts on Solo?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Tim. I think that Solo is a perfectly fine movie. It is a good movie to me. It is like your textbook 3 out of 5. Like that was good. I like that movie. I honestly would go as like I would even say that it might have the best plot line in any Star Wars movie. It's just a very, very solidly told story, but there's just no highs to it. There's just nothing that blows me away about this movie. It's perfectly inoffensive. There's nothing that it does that that drags me down. And there's plenty of eye rolling stuff which we'll get to. Like, did they have to have an explanation for everything about Han Solo's character? Did we need to know how he came up with the nickname for Chewie, how he got the last name Solo, how he got his blast? Did we need to know everything about Han Solo? All those little things, like. Oh man, all of the explanations were kind of getting me eye rolly, but other than that, perfectly fine story. Like it's a good movie. It doesn't take any risks. It doesn't go too crazy. It's just enjoyable. And it maybe suffers a little bit from the fact that it's just enjoyable.
It's the name fits it perfect. I feel like Solo is. You can watch that and not need to watch anything else and just enjoy that movie for what it is.
For sure. And I will say that Alden, is it Ehrenreich? Is that his last name? I think he's an awesome young Han Solo. I think the casting, like I every time we do these reviews, I like to watch the movie, but I also like to go back and watch a lot of the reviews and reactions that people had like when the movie first came out. And like almost overwhelmingly, people didn't like his portrayal of Han, and I'm like, I don't get it. I think like
that's crazy to me.
He's not Harrison Ford. That's it. Like obviously, right? He's not Harrison Ford, but the mannerisms were so spot on. I thought he was. Yes. I thought he did an excellent job. Like as good as you can do without being Harrison Ford.
Right.
Dude, I could not agree more. I think the general consensus, the popular opinion, if you will, is that Donald Glover as Lando was just so awesome. And yeah, he's pretty good. But I don't understand the backlash on all of it. I think he was great as trying to be Harrison Ford being Han Solo. That's a hard task to make happen. This is not Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, where he's awesome, but he's got a lot of time removed from that original trilogy. This is not terribly far away from A New Hope and the original trilogy. That's a hard thing to be, like it's a different thing if he's a kid, but he's not. He's young, but he's within 10 years of being Han Solo that we know and love. So I think he's phenomenal in this portrayal. Like you said, John, down to the mannerisms. I'm with you on the 101 on this movie. I think it's a fine movie. I love all Star Wars things. I just do. I unabashedly do. This one, people think I hate Solo. And I think it's just because I'm not as high on it as most people are. I think, end of the show, we're going to get into our rankings, so I'm not going to give much away. But if we're talking about the time frame here, Last Jedi came out 4.5 months before this, if not 5. I love that movie. I said last week, I think it was a masterpiece. Force Awakens. Don't get me started on that. John feels the same way. Tim doesn't. Whatever.
Wait, the number 2 movie? Wait, is that the number one that's ranked number 2 right now?
No, I think it's 3 actually.
Oh, it's 3. Yeah, my mistake.
I don't even think you did it on purpose.
So sad.
And then there was Rogue One, which was also great. So Disney had, in my head, banger after banger for those first three. And you get to Solo, and I think a little underwhelming is the way I think about it. I don't know if it's fair, but also Star Wars is not Marvel. They're different properties, even though there's some characteristics that cross over for the fandom. You could pump out a new MCU series or movie probably just about every month or week, as Disney Plus has been doing, and I'd be down for it. Star Wars needs time to breathe. And you had Last Jedi, we had Rogue One, we had Force Awakens, all in a 3-year time span. Then you get this, and this also, by the way, came out mere weeks after 2018. So it would have been Infinity War, and then also Deadpool 2. Yeah. There was a lot going on right around that time, and I don't want to say fatigue is necessarily a thing, but
my perspective on that is not necessarily the fatigue. Like I think that The Last Jedi was just so divisive. Like it is by far the most divisive Star Wars movie. You look at the way that they use, like, a lot of just the general Star Wars fans received that movie, and they were panicking for the way that they wanted this trilogy to go, and that to see the future of Star Wars they thought was not in a good spot after a lot of them saw that movie. So just call it like it is, right? So I think that the hype is like absolutely crushed for this movie coming out just months later. And again, I think that the fact that Infinity War and Deadpool and everything like that came out close to it, I think that matters only because The Last Jedi was so divisive. I think if it wasn't, everyone would have been just as pumped as they would have been. But now we're like, okay, then I didn't love that last one. Not sure I like the direction, and also I just got these awesome movies that I absolutely adore. Right? So am I really excited about a Han Solo movie which had some questionable development issues as well. Like they went through multiple directors and stuff like that. Like, interesting story of Solo for sure.
Right, like that's another thing I was going to mention. We had Lord and Miller, the guys behind the Lego Movie, behind
21 Jump Street,
Into the Spider-Verse as well.
Yep,
really, really good at what they do. But something wasn't jiving at Lucasfilm, and what tells me is what was not jiving is, and we kind of heard this, is it was two Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's what they are.
Stupid.
Right. Like you brought these you brought these directors in because that's who they are, right? And then like the DNA the DNA of this movie is absolutely completely different now that Ron Howard takes over. Like it's such a different movie than it would have been.
So Ron Howard comes in and I think does a quality job, by the way.
Agreed.
Because this was even more crunch time than the Rogue One stuff that was going on in that respective timeline. So Ron Howard came on relatively late, and they kept. I'm very surprised this movie never got delayed. I think about if it would have come out at Christmas time, like the other Star Wars movies. Let's make that a tradition. Episode 9 eventually got there. Why not keep going with that? I don't know that it necessarily changes my outlook on the movie, but at the same time, I think about where I was when this came out. And John, you were right. Deadpool 2 and Infinity War, people freaking love. So it's funny to say that of the 3 movies we talk about here, Solo got buried. Interesting, right?
Oh my God, it's crazy. Like I don't know if we're out of order here, but let's talk about the box office, man. It is like this movie. The budget of this movie was $300 million. That was the budget. What was the box office, Joe?
Well, Tim, you want to take a guess first? John, I assume you know.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim, what do you think?
500 million.
Not terribly far off. It did 392.
Okay.
Holy crap. Almost lost money. A Star Wars movie.
For a Star Wars movie, especially when you came off 3 that just did $1 billion apiece, and the Force Awakens juggernaut that just kept going. This is a disappointment in relation to that.
It bombed. Yeah. It absolutely bombed.
It's funny to say that because this is. I hate to keep talking about this, but it's before the pandemic. So you don't have to worry about, are the theaters open? Are people comfortable going to the theaters? No, it doesn't matter. This is in the heart of a string of success with Infinity War, with Deadpool, with a lot of other big hits in 2018 that had no problem delivering at the box office. People did not want to see this movie, or they did, and they didn't want to go back a second time. And I think it's funny because it's called A Star Wars Story, but it's almost like people didn't know or they didn't care. It's one of the two when this came out. And it's a little bit disappointing from that aspect that they decided to go along with this when it came out. And I believe it was, so May 25th of that year. So say what you will about that, but I think a lot of those factors kind of combine here. There was not a huge amount of hype going into this movie.
No, and I think a lot of the conversation from older Star Wars fans was like, man, do we really need a Han Solo movie? Like, first of all, do we need a Han Solo movie? And do I really want to see Han Solo recast? Regardless of Alden's performance, even before the movie comes out, who cares how he's going to do? Do these people that grew up with Han Solo as their, their fun, whimsical hero, do they want to see that character recast? And I think the answer was no for a lot of them.
I understand that, because I think I was open-minded, if not skeptical. Like, right, how is this guy going to do? I don't know. He's no Harrison Ford. How are you going to get there?
Right.
But that we'll talk about that later on. J-Mac in the chat, he said, is this situation similar to Joss Whedon taking over for Zack Snyder? I don't think so. Maybe in time frame a little bit. Obviously different circumstances. With Disney, it just sounded like they didn't like what Lord and Miller had going on, and they were scared shitless after Last Jedi. And they're like, we got to fix this.
Yeah,
we don't like the direction of this.
There's a lot of information out there about the creative differences. Like, I think the last straw was like there was a specific scene that Lord and Miller like refused to do multiple takes on and give them multiple angles on because they knew that Disney was going to over edit it. So that was like the thing, is like they felt Disney was just creeping back there, and they had like this executive producer that was there basically micromanaging them, and they were like forced to just keep reshooting stuff, so Disney had more to work with, more to do in the edit room, basically to like take more control over this project. And Lord and Miller were like, we're not going to keep refilming these scenes, and they parted ways.
And it sucks because I would have loved to have seen that movie, because the Lego movie, my gosh, like you said, 21 Jump Street at the time.
Release the Lord Miller cut.
I would have loved to have seen their spin on this, because they understand, I think, in essence, fun and comedy. And I think think about it, if it was, hey, it's two Guardians. So you have Han Solo, you got Chewbacca, you got Kira, you got Woody Harrelson's character,
Lando.
Right. That would have made for a fun comedic element, I think. Like, we talked about comedy in Last Jedi and Force Awakens. Lean into it in a movie like this where it doesn't matter so much.
I think that's absolutely what it was going to be. I think you would have gotten a Han and Lando buddy cop story is what you would have gotten with that. I think you would have had Lando introduced earlier, and he would have been way, way more at the forefront. Because I was honestly surprised at how little Lando was part of this movie. He was decently involved in the movie, but like he wasn't really part of the main plot and the main crew until kind of like the last third of the movie. So I was kind of surprised. So I think that there probably was bigger plans for Donald Glover's Lando, and I bet you that's the angle they were going with. Because you think about the movies that they're known for. 21 Jump Street is like one of my favorite comedies of all time. Like, those movies are so freaking funny, and they're so good, and like that's kind of what gave them their comeuppance in the industry, I think, is doing those movies. So if they could have taken what like the buddy cop aspect of 21 Jump Street and given us that with Han and Lando, oh man, sign me up.
I am disappointed that never came to fruition. And I remember when they were announced, first of all, how excited I was, and when they were removed, I was like, what's going on here? And then Ron Howard's a great director, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But he's
a studio director. He's gonna make this right. Man, if there's anything that you can describe Solo, a Star Wars story, with, it's the word safe. It is so.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's just so safe.
It's funny too, because John, you mentioned in a second we're gonna queue up the trailer, so we want to watch this with you. But if I think about some of the things you mentioned, like they throw a lot of Easter eggs in there, or they throw a lot of origin stuff for Han, I like a lot of it. Some of it felt like so pieced together too at the same time. Like, I don't like the direction that it took.
Like, you're doing it to do it. They feel like you should, so you want to do it anyways. Like,
they really slap you in the face with it. Like, you didn't have to explain everything that made Han Solo.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Right. When he's registering and he's like, Solo, and it's
I hate that.
Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad.
That's like one of my things. I was like, you don't need that. Like, he's literally trying to get away from these, not get caught, and then like get this witty last name you're gonna give him, and it's just like.
It's funny because I love Alden's reaction there, because he truly feels like he's been alone his whole life, right? Like, that's his thing. But I don't like the idea that that's where his name came from, and we'll talk about it too. But
what's his real name then? If it's not, what's his real last name? Anyone?
It doesn't have one. Yeah, it's just Han.
Okay.
So there's been two canons. There was pre-Disney and then current Disney, basically, for what counts, so to speak. Solo was his legitimate last name. He had a father, all this stuff. I don't care that you deviate from that, but this just felt cheesy. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is where we're going here. Come on, okay.
I
But
feel like you had that a lot. Like even like the scene with Chewbacca's like, I'm not saying that whole last name. You're gonna have to have a
Right.
nickname.
It's too
Like
much,
I just
dude.
like, does it need like could have been just like a part where it's like he got the nickname like in like a moment. It became Chewie. Like you don't need to explain to me
Yes.
that you don't want to say the name long.
Does it need to be a
You know what I
moment?
mean?
Does
Like
it? Can he just call him Chewie? Does it need to be a
Right.
moment? Like, yes, we understand
perfect
Han
scene.
Solo. Yeah.
When he comes to the rescue where they're in the mine, he'd be like Chewie. Like that would have been a good spot where that's where he came up with the nickname.
Yeah.
Like
Right. You
like
don't.
something like that. Like you don't need to force it.
He
You
could
just
have
let it
been
be
like,
natural.
they could have been in one of their skirmishes or battles, and he could have been like Chewie, and Chewbacca could have looked at him. And he could have been like,
Yeah,
I can't remember your name. Like
Yeah.
that. You know
Yeah.
what? Like
Like,
there's so many other
show
ways.
us. Show us. Don't tell us. You literally. There's so
Yeah.
many.
Yes.
There's so much of that in this
But
movie.
we
where you
talked
just,
about that in the previous episodes that's the direction they've kind of went in with the newer films. Before it was like, hey, we're gonna show you this and do it. Even like in the prequels, it was they're explaining a little more than they felt like they needed to, and I feel like you kind of see that with some of the other movies. But more so in this one, I feel like than some of the other ones.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think episode 7 and 8 do a good job of showing as opposed to telling for the most part.
Agreed.
Tim, we'll see as we collectively watch episode 9 that I think it's more in sync with Solo because of the course correction that we always heard about, which is ridiculous with Disney. That they were pivoting from what they thought was the perception of Last Jedi. Critics loved it and the box office loved it, but fanboys. So that's why they changed allegedly.
Fanboys.
Yeah, they suck. So we get to episode 9. I think there's a lot of that which we're gonna get into. But John, I'm gonna pass it over to you if you're ready and if you want to throw the trailer up for us.
Yes, I will be ready in just a second. I forgot that I also have to watch the trailer. I didn't have mine up.
Oh man,
I can play it for I can play it for everybody else. I'm ready. You guys have it up?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, go ahead and play it.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I was kicked out of the flight academy for having a mind of my own. I'm gonna be a pilot. Best in the galaxy.
Hey, kid. I'm putting together a crew. You in?
That's yes.
I might be the only person. Who knows what you really are?
What's that?
Get ready.
Thought we were in trouble there for a second, but it's fine. We're fine.
Good trailer. Good trailer.
Yeah, I like it.
I love that.
That's definitely one of my favorite scenes they showed is where he smacks the TIE fighter into the.
Oh, dude, what a cool move!
That's awesome.
Yeah, when he just flips and knock. Yeah, what a cool move.
Yeah, it's okay. Like
Again,
it's
I
fine.
wouldn't. Seeing that trailer is the exact reason I didn't see the movie. It's okay. Like I don't need. It doesn't make me feel like, damn, I need to go book. It's not going to cause a text from Joe saying, "Hey, let's all book, 2 rows at the movie theater."
Yeah, I don't know.
what I mean?
I thought it was pretty sweet. I like it. Josh in chat, he's not a Star Wars guy, but he's like, yeah, is this movie already out? This trailer was cool. Josh, I think that someone like you would actually really like Solo, honestly. Like, it is not a Star Wars movie. It's called Solo,
Yeah.
a Star Wars story. It is not a Star Wars movie at all. It is about a young smuggler named Han Solo basically trying to stay alive and get back to his girlfriend. Like, that's what it's about. And when I say that, like, it has maybe the most distinct storyline in any Star Wars movie, it has a really interesting plot. Like, everything makes sense. Like, the A to B to Z, like, everything is super interesting. Like, it's a really, really well written story. Infus Nest, the villain, and the whatever if you want to call it a twist or whatever you will, like that. It's super interesting. It's well done. It's just a little unremarkable in how we get there.
Unremarkable is a good word, I think, for a lot of that. I feel like the other trailer or teaser for this was more exciting, but Um, I don't know. Not. I don't have much to say about this. It was okay.
I think I definitely liked it, but I do agree that so this was the teaser. The trailer was cooler. The trailer almost had like a Western like theme to it. It was interesting. It was really, really cool. It was only they kind of gave you like gunslinger vibes, which definitely was not really present in the movie. Like they tried it. They tried a few different angles of that, Han Solo gunslinger, but they just didn't show us any of that. But Josh, honestly, I think that you watch Solo. I think you would dig that movie, to be honest.
So here's my other take on it is after seeing that trailer, it's one of those things where I would assume with the way stuff is right now, I would find that on Disney Plus and not in a movie theater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'd be able to see that trailer can now come into Disney Plus.
That's a very interesting conversation, because like that is ultimately where they went with these Star Wars stories. Because I mean, like this came out and was storyboarded and put in production before Disney Plus existed. The next Star Wars story was supposed to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was supposed to be the third spin-off Star Wars story, and that's exactly what happened. They saw the way that this movie bombed. They're like, okay, let's wait on this. We've got Ewan McGregor.
Let's make a character with a lightsaber.
Yeah, right. No, like they again, that was the plan, but like it was reactionary. It was like, all right, this movie barely made our money back, and we're Disney. We can't do that. That's not okay. Let's figure out how to do this, and then all of a sudden Disney Plus is born, and now we have a series 4 years later.
So what's interesting is too, if not the same time as the Obi-Wan movie or before it, but Lucasfilm did confirm a Boba Fett movie, and that was short-lived. That was shortly after Force Awakens came out.
Yep.
So that was kind of intended to be almost a trilogy, even though they're anthology movies that tied into this. And then a third film that was heavily rumored was going to be focused on Lando. And like John said, all of that was scrapped when Solo did not do super well at the box office. It made money, but not Star Wars money.
It barely made money, even for a movie. Like $90 million ahead of your production is not much. Like there's really not much to pay out there.
And Disney Plus, you have to wonder almost like how much that moved forward after something like this. So you got the Kenobi movie, which feels like it was split into this 6-part series that we're going to be getting here in just a few weeks' time. Dude. I can't wait. We're going to do a weekly series for that, 100%.
Well, let's just do a daily series. We just talk about it. We just keep talking about the last episode until the next one. I don't care.
I'm all into that for sure. So there was that. There was all these spinoffs that were happening. There was the Rian Johnson trilogy. There was the guys from Game of Thrones, and then they were like, whoa, pump the brakes here.
Benioff. Yeah.
We're going to wait on this. So it's interesting how much it felt like this swayed a lot of that. Even though Rise of Skywalker did pretty well at the box office.
It did.
Just about a year and a half later.
You have to imagine how far the development and talks of Disney Plus were already kind of coming along. So I bet you it was kind of like, it was both things. It was like, all right, this didn't do great. We're working on this Disney Plus thing. It's going to be out in the next couple of years. Why don't we pivot some of these stories for that platform? Because we're going to focus on that anyway. So I'm sure it was kind of just a perfect storm.
Which I feel like did build up a big hype with all the, Star Wars series that came out on Disney Plus.
Dude,
I feel like
Disney Plus
huge.
Disney Plus launched with Mando.
Yeah,
Mandalorian season 1, episode 1 was like, talk about launching with the killer app. It's like the Switch coming out with Zelda.
Yeah, or Xbox with Halo, right? Like that's your day one kind of selling point, and it couldn't have been better for Disney Plus. Like obviously Mando was vital, but. So, Tim, we know you just watched the movie, but John, do you remember your first viewing? Anything significant about that with this film?
Nothing too remarkable. Kind of just like the movie, I guess. I definitely saw it in the theaters, and I don't know if I saw it day one. Maybe I probably did. I probably did. I don't think I saw it again though in theaters. I'm pretty sure I just saw it the one time. I didn't purchase the Blu-ray, so the next time I would have watched that movie is when it came to digital. I almost said Disney Plus, but it actually came to Netflix first. It was one of those. It was one of those movies that was on Netflix. Disney had a relationship. A couple of the Marvel movies, a couple of Star Wars movies ended up there. So I think my second watching was probably on Netflix, and I may not have watched it again. I know I probably have. I'd probably put myself around like 3 or 4 watches, but.
Yeah, opening night there for sure, and it was kind of fun because, it's Star Wars opening night, but different. Like not a crazy line. It was a packed theater, but not like it would have been for Force Awakens or Last Jedi.
Yep.
And I remember seeing some of our Buffalo cosplay friends a few rows ahead, and we had a row ourselves. So good times all around, but it was like laid back. With Last Jedi, it was like, what are the stakes? What's happening with the Skywalker saga? With this, it was like, hey, this is going to be a snack. This is going to be a lot of fun. So I did go back and see it in IMAX with my dad a few days later. That was a good time. And that was it. Twice in theaters for me. And then I want to say overall, I've maybe seen this 5 times. Like, this is easily the least amount for a Star Wars movie.
Surprising for you.
I know. I mean, the fact that it's newer and, 2018 factors in a little bit. But for me, it is never the one that I just go and watch if I want to watch a Star Wars movie or even have one on in the background.
Right.
It's never that. So
I'm curious how many times this compares to the episode 10. Right? That's the
the newest
9?
one?
Yeah.
Oh, 9, yeah.
I would say 9 probably close to
So
doubles
spoil
it. All right. So
we continued.
maybe he didn't hear me. But anyway, yeah. So
I did. I'm acting like I didn't. Say what?
well played, my friend. All right,
Fun.
let's jump through my notes. I don't have a ton like I had for Last Jedi. We get another different intro in this movie, right? Like I'm wondering what that's going to look like. We're not quite getting a crawl, but we did get more text than we saw obviously in Rogue One.
It was basically a crawl, just not in crawl form.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It serves the same purpose.
We didn't know how Rogue One felt, so we're going to kind of do it, but we're going to do slides instead.
Yeah.
Whatever, it's fine. I care about these details. It's Star Wars. And then they say a lawless time. Funny. That's how they tout Mandalorian just about a year and a half later. So they keep harkening back to that. I can't even remember. This is terrible to say who the composer of this film is. However, John Williams helped compose the main theme, the theme that we hear when we start the movie, which is Han's theme. It's totally John Williams. It's beautiful, right? It's the best of the best. So he gets credit for partially writing that. A lot of production issues, right? We bring in Ron Howard. The composer's not getting the job done. Didn't know where to go. You bring in the best. This is a weird thing for me to say, but I felt like this was almost unwatchable in theaters with how dark it was.
Question: Did you go to the Regal on Walden? Or, I'm sorry, on Transit.
What resolution was the screen?
I don't recall opening night. I remember seeing it in IMAX, and it wasn't much better. IMAX obviously would have been Transit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the projectors there are just so bad.
Was it 4K?
Well, I'll tell you this:
8K.
watching the 4K for the first time at home on the OLED I have is a massive difference. I'm okay with it being a really, really dark filter, so to speak.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice that much on mine, but
yeah, I mean,
when I just watched it, wasn't noticeable for me.
Think about how the movie opens up. I mean, you're in Corellia and it's all dark, and you're in like these alleys, and there's not much lighting going on. So, see what you're saying.
I kind of love the thermal detonator, if for no other reason
Awesome.
than that is obviously Princess Leia's trick. If you go back to Return of the Jedi, so maybe just maybe she learned it from him. Who knows? Do you know Kira was actually Rey's initial name?
I did not know that.
No, I did not know that.
The character George Lucas wrote was called Kira, but Kira. In the movie here, she's QI''RA.
Yeah.
So just make it a little bit different, right? But yeah, that was Rey's initial name before Abrams and co changed it.
When I first turned it on, I was unsure of how I'd feel about Emilia Clarke playing
I love
her,
it.
but I loved it. I really did.
So
I was 50-50 at first, just because I've always been on that Game of Thrones train, and then I got off it, and I really enjoyed it. I liked her character a lot.
She is one of the most charming actresses I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
She is so awesome.
Dude, it's funny because you know my thoughts on Game of Thrones. I don't care for it. But knowing she was going to be in this, I'm like, great, that's another big Hollywood name that's like, I want to be in a Star Wars movie. You know, for me, that's like, hey, that's pretty cool. I loved her in this movie.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to
she's
expect.
great in
like,
Game of Thrones.
No, she's terrible. Actually, she's not terrible. I just think Game of Thrones is terrible.
Sure.
That's just me. But in this movie, I really think she does a good job. We'll talk about, that character, that moment. I've got some thoughts as we get later into this discussion here. So when Han gets through the gate and he looks at the TV or the projector there, I love that you hear the Imperial theme playing for what is a commercial for the Empire. I don't know why. I think that's really funny.
So cool. There's a lot of really cool world building stuff for Star Wars in this. Like even just like on the streets of Corellia, seeing like the little kids like talking about what they got. Like just really cool world. I love seeing that stuff. That's my favorite part about Star Wars is just to see like the planets and the worlds explored a little bit.
Han's name origin we already talked about. It's terrible.
Bro, it's offensive.
Doesn't work. Don't like that they shifted so much from what worked in the previous canon.
Honestly, I don't even care about the shift. I just don't like the way it was executed.
It was terrible. It's like they wanted to go so opposite of it that they went too far. And it's just bad.
Kick you in the face with it.
The irony. So we see Han on the battlefield for the first time, and he's struggling. I love that he's wearing that helmet because it's basically like a Kylo Ren helmet. Just say it, thinking ahead all these years. That's kind of cool. At that point in that battle, there's always rumors, right? I was really hoping to see just a quick glimpse of like Vader walking by, slashing down rebels.
How sick
after Rogue One,
How sick would that
You know what I thought a little bit about is that when I first turned this movie on, I thought to myself, there's no way they show a Jedi that Han comes across, because very first movie he's in his Falcon, and he's like, I don't believe in Jedi magic or whatever he calls it at that point.
Right. Old hokey
like
religion.
how would you have him see that prior to Luke? You know what I mean? That's kind of my thought on it.
That would have been too logic breaking. You can't really do that.
So I prepared myself like, hey, I'm not going to see. I mean, I did, but I didn't expect to see anything.
Right.
It worked perfectly, I think, which we'll chat about. Woody Harrelson is Beckett. I love me some Woody Harrelson. I think he always plays a kind of similar role, right? Like the mentor role, that he's the guy who doesn't give a crap. I always think of Zombieland. I love that movie. And Woody Harrelson, though, what do you guys think of his performance in this?
Loved it.
Yeah, I loved him.
It's good, right? It makes sense. Like, who's going to be Han's mentor?
I just love him in everything. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think he just fits so well. He's got the comedic humor. You could see where my thought is you could see where Han becomes. Yes.
Right. Like this guy's.
Or should I say Han? Sorry.
He's kind of a scumbag, like very, similar to what Han is.
It makes sense. It really does, that he's the guy that plays that mentor role. One of the two stormtroopers that knock Han into the pit as they're looking down and looking at Chewbacca, they're voiced by Steve Blum. So Steve Blum has done hundreds of voiceover roles throughout the years. He has been most prominently in Cowboy Bebop, if you're into that. He's done so many different video games. It's crazy. What was really cool is I got to sit down and host a panel with him at Nickel City Con a few years ago and talk about this very thing. But he's one of the stormtroopers that's making the comment as Chewbacca and Han are fighting. How about Chewbacca's origin here? The wrestling, the speaking that Han does, I kind of feel like it makes sense. Like, it's a funny way for them to connect.
I like the scene. I like how Chewbacca's introduced. I don't know that I like Han speaking Wookiee. I don't know that I like that.
Because I don't feel like I've ever heard anyone speak Wookiee in any of the movies, and how is that possible that not a single person's ever speak Wookiee until that very moment?
Yeah.
Who understands Chewbacca throughout the movies? Only Han.
I agree.
Yeah. Right.
But speaking is different than
understanding. Yes. I wish they would have just kept it with that. It's like, yes, I can understand you. I do understand a little bit of Wookiee. Like, not that I'm literally gonna make these grunting noises. It was a little weird, but overall, I like the introduction. I like the scene. I like the fight, the scheme to get out. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, their plan to get out of there makes sense that they team up. I like that. Chewbacca looks terrifying, by the way, when we meet him. And then Han makes the comment, "Moof Milker," which is not a callback to anything other than Force Awakens, which is kind of funny. Only a few years earlier. Jon Favreau is Rio. Rio sets the record straight on the useless equipment for the stormtroopers, right? He's talking about the helmets. You can't turn your neck. You can't see anything. Kind of funny. It's almost like a retcon in a way to say, hey, it makes sense why the stormtroopers can't hit anything. They're not talentless. They just have terrible equipment.
Yeah. So this wasn't the case when I first or even second saw the movie, but for some reason last night, all I could think of was Jon Favreau in a recording booth recording all of those lines. I couldn't fix the disconnect there. What's the name of the character again?
Rio.
I couldn't see Rio as a character. All I see is Jon Favreau voicing this character. I don't know why.
I don't love the character because I'm with you. It feels a little too, I don't know. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Like, he feels like he's disconnected. He's in a studio recording those lines. I like Jon Favreau, so I guess it gets a pass.
Yeah, same here.
Kind of funny that Han and Chewie end up in the shower. I don't know why. I think that's, again, it's their origin story in a way. Right around that time, one of my favorite visual shots, this is small, but it's them coming over like the snowy mountains, and the music that plays, it's kind of a little bit slower. I think that's just a beautiful visual shot in this film. We get a Bosk reference from Vale. So Bosk is
Yeah.
like the lizardy kind of looking bounty hunter in the yellow in Empire Strikes Back. I like that.
I didn't catch that until yesterday. I've seen it. I've seen the movie a few times. I didn't catch
I don't know
it.
if I did catch that. I'll have to look back for it.
Yeah, when
It's
they're
quick.
when they're sitting around and like he's Woody Harrelson's talking about bringing them onto the crew, and she's like, no, we can call him or we can call Bosk. Like I'm like, oh
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, I didn't
nice
catch
Easter
that.
egg. Not one that felt forced to me.
Right.
It felt like natural that she'd be talking about that.
that one, and then the other one. I'm sure you'll get to it, but it reminds me of the Aura Singh one. That one's also really good too. It's like, oh, interesting. Woody Harrelson, he killed Aura Singh.
Those were ones that I was like, oh my gosh, these give this movie credibility, and I was a little bit giddy.
That's what I like. Those are the ones that I like. The world building. They make sense. They give us explanations for things that like we would be curious about, right? Not how did Han become Solo or how did he get his blaster?
Right.
What about the stupid dice? Why are the dice? What about the dice? Someone explain it to me.
Disney loves the dice.
Why?
Lucky
So-
dice.
So the dice are, you're right, they're lucky dice. They are hanging in the Falcon in A New Hope, but I never remembered that until
Episode
I
8.
never even realized it was a thing until Last Jedi.
Yeah,
And
what
they
a
decided to run with it.
and what a weird thing that like that this is like a keepsake for Leia when it was like his thing that he had with his ex-girlfriend. What a weird. I don't know.
That felt shoehorned to me. I like the thought more so in Last Jedi, but when I saw him with them here, I was like,
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
was.
where we're going. with
He
this.
started out with it was like forefront, like bam, and then
Right-
later on
right
it's
in
like
the mirror.
bam again. Yeah.
It was like a random
in your face.
accessory in A New Hope just to like
Yeah.
fill up the cockpit.
Right.
They needed every little bit that they could from the studio. They didn't have a lot of money to make that movie, right? And then that it became a thing.
Yeah, they probably got that from some PA's car. It's like, bring us whatever you got. What do you got dangling
Yeah.
from your mirror? We need everything we can find here.
I don't got fuzzy dice. I got metal dice.
Ooh, those
Perfect.
will
Bring
work.
them on in.
Those are space dice.
I like the premise, but they go a little crazy in Solo. We get Han's blaster from Beckett. I never needed to know where Han's blaster came from. Whatever. Thoughts on our villain, quote unquote, Infus Nest?
Love it. I think that
I like
it's
them.
interesting, intriguing, and then it's like, oh, all of a sudden it's a pretty cool twist at the end there. It's like, oh, this is like a young girl, and she's doing like, she's fighting for a good cause, and you find out that she's helping plant the seeds for the rebellion.
I'm not a fan of it for whatever reason. The character doesn't resonate with me. I don't
Oh.
like how she sounds under the mask, and I'm okay with the end where she's talking about the seeds of the rebellion and why she's doing what she's doing. Totally fine with that. I felt like when I saw this movie for the first time, there was a big reveal, and then I was like, should I know who she is? Like, it's presented in a weird way when she takes that mask off to me.
Yeah.
Huh,
I know
I can
it's
see that.
meant to be now in hindsight that she's a kid.
That hits. That hit even like day one. Like, oh man, this is supposed to be kind of like a Vader. This is like this is a new Star Wars villain that we're kind of getting introduced to, but all of a sudden like, no, this is just a kid. I don't know. Hit for
It
me.
missed the boat with me for what it's worth, but she, yeah, and I even felt like there was meant to be a connection with Woody Harrelson's character. And it wasn't there. So
Hey, maybe there was. Maybe it could have been part of the the change up and the reshoots and stuff like that.
I kind of felt like that's where they were going, but it just felt messy to me. I don't know why I love this, but when they're on the cruiser, not long after that, I love when Chewbacca has 2 drinks in his hand and finishes both of them. Don't know, it's a little moment in the movie, but I'm like, good guy, Chewie, We talked about it a little bit. Kira's performance, or Emily Clark's performance, rather. Ron Howard, anything he's ever done. There's a cameo with his brother, Clint Howard. You'll know him when you see him, but he's kind of the guy that is around the droid pit, where L3 is yelling as the droids are like fighting each other. He's the guy she grabs the face of. But yeah, Clint Howard is in every single thing that Ron Howard does. So when Ron Howard took this over, I'm like, oh gosh, we're gonna get that cameo. Lando. So let's talk about that performance. Everyone hyped up this performance big time. Loved that Donald Glover was the guy. Donald Glover famously said, hey, I got the role, and then I went home, got a pizza, and watched Empire Strikes Back. What do we think of his job in this movie?
I think I might maybe a little bit lower on like it than most people. I think, I don't know, maybe he wasn't just, maybe they didn't use Han or Lando well enough in this movie, but for some reason, like, I just thought I thought that a Donald Glover Lando was just gonna be more up my alley than this was, and he was really good. It just like it didn't. That could have sold me on the movie, right? Like that could have been like the saving grace, or at least like the coolest part of the movie, and it just wasn't. He was just good. I don't know. It was just it didn't
Maybe
hit.
he had more screen time too. Maybe
Exactly.
helped,
That totally could be it. That totally could be it. Wasn't a
It's
big
funny.
enough part of the story.
I feel like the sexy choice is that, oh my gosh, love Donald Glover as this character so much. I'm like, yeah, he's good. But I think like there was an overhype for me. So like he came down a little bit. And then for Alden, I didn't have the best expectations, but he killed it for me. So like
Right.
they almost balanced out in the end, which is a good thing.
I liked him a lot. Honestly, I enjoyed him. The main scene I didn't really care for is, I know I keep referencing Lando and Han and all that stuff just kind of as a joke, but I didn't like how they did it.
Dude, I don't need that
to me, it was
explanation.
do you really need to explain to me? He's like, oh, it's Han. Like you don't like. I feel like when he says it in the original
Yeah.
trilogy, it was kind of just out there. It was like their thing. It wasn't like a lot of force, and it felt like it was natural. Like that's the relationship. And I feel like here it's like, hey, I need to tell you why I'm saying it. Like I know it's pissing you off, and that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But like I just felt like, again, like one of those things that I didn't
And you
need
know what?
to hear.
I think that it sticks out so much because it's like the fourth time they did it in the movie. It's like the fourth
Yes.
or fifth time where they're like showing us something, like maybe one or two would be like, okay, we got those cool little bits. Like now we know a couple of those things, like totally fine. You're overstaying your welcome with some of this stuff. And like, yes, by the time we get to Lando and he says Han, I'm already rolling my eyes. I'm like, okay, they're gonna
Right.
they're now we have the origin story on why he's called why Lando calls him Han, even though there's no story behind it. The actor just didn't know how to say his name.
I feel like it's like they're just capitalizing on something that people like by making it more than it needs to be,
For sure.
bring more attention to it. But I just feel like it wasn't needed. What you to say, Joe?
I like that exchange, even though we got maybe a few eye roll moments before that, because I was like, all right, that's funny. He's trying to piss him off, get under his skin in this card game, right? In Sabak, and they're mispronouncing things. I don't know. I felt like it was relatively natural. I understand your thought process for both of you on it, but for me, it hit a little
I
better.
like the whole scene. I love the scene. I love that whole little exchange. And he find out he was cheating. I loved it.
Yeah, even
You
him
know.
saying like everything you've heard about me is true. Like that's funny.
Right,
He's
cool.
got the swagger to hold his cup there without looking. He looks at Han at one point and says, "You're adorable." I think that's all great.
It's really good. And
I love later on where you like just see his personality sitting in the Falcon. He's like recording his little diary.
his little memoirs. Yeah, and
His
during
memoir.
during that card game, you're totally expecting Han to win because you know the backstory. You know that's how Han gets the Falcon from Lando is in a card game. So like you're totally expecting him to win. So it's like, wait, what's going on when he loses? So
For sure, that was a nice surprise moment because that wasn't the moment we thought it would be. So a nice twist, nice job in direction. I think overall in that scene. Aura Singh, we talked about. What a nice little nod that was to say, hey, Woody Harrelson's character again, he's the real deal. He killed Aura Singh. Aura Singh, if you don't know, kind of a famous bounty hunter from the background or the legends now, but she's also in Phantom Menace. She's got a little bit of a cameo. She's like this white-skinned, very white-skinned creature with a ponytail
blue skin?
during the pod race.
Does she not have blue
What's
skin?
that?
Does she not have blue skin? Oh, it's white. Oh.
Mm-mm.
She's in Clone Wars too, right?
Yes, she is. So, kind of
And
a
she
character
dies.
that took, yeah, exactly, pushed off a cliff, right?
Yeah.
Here's something I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about. What do we think about L3, the droid?
Oh,
I liked it more than I thought. I actually liked it. I thought it was kind of a weird. I feel like compared to Rogue One with the robot we got, I feel like this one, it was weird.
K3?
Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, K3, the three number threes.
K2. I'm just messing.
L3 made me like K2 better. L3 made me like long for K2.
I feel like it was weird, but like quirky and brought a little sense of like weirdness to it, which I feel like, was different, but I enjoyed it. I don't think it was like my favorite droid, maybe like second from the bottom, but still enjoyed it.
My note just says L3 is the worst.
She's the
I
worst.
don't like this character. She drives me nuts. I
Oh,
like
I'm
where
in the
she.
minority here.
Well, at least here you are. I don't know about everyone, but I think I like how she ends up. It's not that she's destroyed, but that they make her a part of the Falcon because that's that's kind of a thing where the Falcon, I want to say in the Last Jedi novel, it says it has like 3 droid brains. And even how she malfunctions and hits herself, that's hysterical because that's a nice Easter egg. Because Han and Chewie, they always pound that back wall in the cockpit, right?
Right.
That's how they get it running sometimes. Now L3 had to hit herself, and then she's a part of the Falcon. I thought that was nice. But yeah, I do not like this droid whatsoever. I thought they were going for a K2 vibe, and they missed wildly.
I just
Obviously.
think, in my opinion, I think it was the way I took it from my perspective. It was like we see so many droids in the movies, and this is the first time I felt like there was a perspective of a droid that like cared about other droids and like wanted to save the droids. And you see all the things that the boys are put through, and there's no emotion, and you see her have like this overflowing amount of personality, and that kind of carries over into a lot of it. And that's kind of the way I took it. Like, hey, this is the first droid we've seen him with a little bit of personality. This is the first one that like cares about the other droids and wants to save them. And like that was kind of my take on it, which is why I didn't hate it. But again, not my favorite, but I didn't dislike it either. So
You've somehow made me like her even less.
Yeah. So I don't mind like the rebellion she causes. I think that's kind of funny because Lando looks at it like, "What did you do?"
right.
That's fine, but past that, yeah, just not.
Another's like, I can't wipe. I want to wipe her, but I can't because she's
yeah. She's got the great nav system, right? And that becomes the nav system on the Falcon. Honestly, seeing the Falcon, by the way, for the first time through Han's lens, essentially, as he's looking around, and then hearing the slow buildup of the music, where it is the Millennium Falcon / Star Wars theme, is just beautiful.
Yeah.
That might be my moment of the movie. It's just so special.
With you.
Lando's Return of the Jedi disguise. We see it on oh my gosh, why can't I remember Woody Harrelson's character's name? What is wrong with me right now?
I can't either. I keep saying Woody Harrelson. I do not know.
I cannot believe I can't remember it. But anyway, he's got that garb. That's a good version of an Easter egg, right? I think that's there. Kira talks about how she knows how to fight so well, and she says that she was taught Terrace Kasi.
Beckett.
It never would have came to me. Tobias Beckett. So Kira mentions Terrace Kasi. Another really good Easter egg. There was a video game, PlayStation 1 era, called Star Wars Masters of Terrace Kasi, which was a lightsaber dueling game. And that is a real big throwback. I love that they found a way to put that in. The Wookiee that Chewbacca kind of headbutts, almost as a sign of, hey, I'm with you, towards the end of that sequence there on the planet. That's played by Anthony Daniels, who is C-3PO.
I knew I didn't like that Wookiee for some reason.
I had a feeling John was going to say I didn't like that character.
Something about that Wookiee just rubbed me the wrong way.
Honestly,
go ahead.
One of my favorite scenes with Chewbacca in that whole little sequence is when they're in the elevator and he's like, tries to get the guy and he just rips his arms off and he's like holding the arms there.
Classic.
I love it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's awesome.
I was going to use that uniform.
How strong they are. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Sagwa is the name of the Wookiee there, and now Anthony Daniels is the only actor / actress to be in all 11 Star Wars movies.
You know what?
So
as much as I hate C-3PO, I love to hate him. I do love Anthony Daniels.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
You know who would save CP3 if he's in trouble? L3.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I think she'd be like, "Yay, you're too annoying."
Yeah, I just like I like the small cute droids. I like my BB-8s, my BD-1s, my R2-D2s. You know, those are my droids. That's where I'm at with the droids.
I'm with you on BB-8 for sure. There's an outstanding shot as we're going into the maelstrom that we call it with the Falcon, and we've got the clouds and the smoke all almost like a tunnel, and the light flashes, and we see a Star Destroyer. Oh, mama, that's some good lighting.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah, that's some good. We don't get a ton of Empire stuff. We get it here and there. That's a nice one. First movie to not have I've got a bad feeling about this. It's Han saying I've got a really good feeling about this. Are you kidding me?
Weird, but I liked it.
Yeah. I love it, right? He's not naive yet. He's optimistic. He's not the jaded Han Solo we've come to know and love just yet. I talked about L3 already becoming a part of the ship. I love that we got the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, but there's more to that story. Han actually rounds down.
Yeah.
There is.
This is when Alden Ehrenreich really becomes Han Solo to me, when they land on that planet and he starts talking to everybody. He's got those mannerisms down beautifully. Also, wouldn't be a Millennium Falcon appearance without the dish flying off, right? We got the flat satellite dish on top, finds a way to fly off yet again. And then we get the one that we eventually get in A New Hope. Maybe my favorite line in the movie is Kira telling Han that she knows what basically no one else knows about him and that he's the good guy. I think that sums up the character very well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
right?
I like that.
Great line.
He wants to be the tough guy. He wants to be the bad guy. He's like the Grinch, right? But no, on the inside, he's actually really a good guy. So I thought that was actually beautiful. What do we think about Dryden Voss? So kind of really the villain in this movie. What do we think about him? And what do we think about those little vibro blades that he's got that almost look like Yondu's little whistling arrow from Guardians to me?
Ah, interesting. Yeah, I think Voss is awesome. I think that's a very, very
I like
cool character. Paul Bettany, you kidding me right now? Coming off the high of Vision. Oh, I thought that was super cool.
I just feel like he definitely asserts his badassness a lot, and I love the part where he's like, "Show it to me," and he's like, "I don't think she's like, I don't ask twice."
Yeah,
like just kind of like the badass mentality.
He's very menacing.
Mm-hmm.
He really played a good role in this, where like in a lot of big AAA, so to speak, popcorn flicks, I think the villain can be so hit or miss, as we've seen in the MCU.
Yeah.
Here, he made me feel like on edge when he said stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or the way he talked to Kira. Like, you know, he was on the edge of just going off at any time. I thought Paul did a really good job of that. Speaking of menacing, by the way, oh my gosh, Darth Maul. Are you kidding? Nice segue, by the
Awesome.
way. Are you kidding me? That was the moment where I was like, oh shit. I was so excited in theaters, even though it was a small cameo. Love that it's Ray Park, who originally played him in Phantom Menace. I love that Sam Witwer is the voice from the Clone Wars. And we don't get the full pan around for a few seconds. And we get the Duel of the Fates music in the background.
The Duel of the Fates, it just keeps like we are in like the Duel of the Fates golden era right now. We just keep getting it, and it's so good. Oh man, I can't wait for Solo. I'm sorry, Obi-Wan.
I remember I grabbed Lord's leg like a few words into that, and I was just like, I think that's Darth Maul. And then of course he gets, he calls the lightsaber, because we got to see a lightsaber. And if it were any other character, I'd probably be like, okay, that's shoehorned. But it's Darth Maul. He's one of my favorite characters.
It still was. It just was awesome.
It felt so cool. I don't know.
It worked. It got me so hyped. I think if it felt more shoehorned, it really wouldn't have worked for me. But
they had to show you a lightsaber.
It's the Clone Wars lightsaber that he has. Oh my gosh. And again, we talked about this being a trilogy. I want now, where we are in time, a Disney Plus series based on him and Kira. Tell me what that looks like.
Yeah.
Don't go Boba Fett on me. That was awful.
Yeah, Crimson
Let's
Dawn.
go.
What's up with Crimson Dawn?
Yes. Why are we not leaning into that? Bring back Emilia Clarke. Bring back Ray Park here. Sam Witwer. That's got to happen. I want Darth Maul as a Prime Lord. I don't want, unless they're going to go the direction that they went for Boba Fett. And they're like, yeah, he's actually kind of a good guy. No, screw that.
Yeah,
Let's
show me what.
lean into this.
100%.
And there's all the other crime syndicates, right? They talk about it early in the movie. They tease that they run rampant right now with the Empire. Let's see what that looks like. That's a series I want. We'll see. I don't know that it'll ever happen, but never say never. They're giving people what they want. Maybe enough of us are loud enough. Kira's betrayal, totally awesome there. We get Beckett in that sequence, him betraying. All of that adds up in a nutshell, I think, to why Han is who he is. He's skeptical. He doesn't trust anyone. He was an optimist. Now he's reserved in how he is, or at least how we see him in the trilogy and then episode 7. But I love that character building. And I think they actually do a good job with it in a short period of time in this movie. And then, of course, Han ends the movie screaming fair and square, right? Because Han wins the Falcon fair and square, just like he touts in Empire Strikes Back. So everything comes full circle. Then we get that end shot of Han and Chewie in the cockpit of the Falcon going into light speed, and all is well with the world. I think it's a nice way to finish off the movie. So lots of good moments there overall, despite being, as we've said, kind of an unremarkable movie overall.
Yeah, I mean, like again, like you said, perfect ending. Like everything, like all the beats hit. Everything is good. It's all good, but it's just good.
It's fine. So favorite non-title character. We finally have a title character. We
We
can't
do.
talk about Han Solo. It's the first time. Who's your favorite character in this movie? Maybe we'll make an exception. You could name Han, because every other Star Wars movie it's been okay.
Right.
But John, why don't we go to you first here?
It's Kiera for me. I think that Amelia Clarke does such a good job with that character. I think she's just so charming. She's just like,
Love her.
I just want to have a drink and like have a conversation with all of the characters she plays. She's so charming. Yeah, she's awesome in this movie. Perfect dynamic counterpart for Han in this. Loved everything about it. Cool name too.
Agreed. A nice recycled Star Wars name. Tim, favorite character?
You want to go first? Because I'm torn between two, so this may change who mine is.
Ooh.
Sure. I'm gonna go to now that I know the name Beckett. I love Woody Harrelson in this movie. I think, as we mentioned, he's kind of he plays similar threads throughout all the characters that he's been a part of. So I think back all the way to Cheers. Holy crap, right? Like he's there. He's in some serious movies. He's in a lot of comedies, but he's got some depth, and he's a guy that I always enjoy on screen. So when I heard that Woody Harrelson was coming to Star Wars, I was excited. One thing to wrap up those thoughts is I love the credits of Star Wars. So we see at the end, they're always the same. We get the space backdrop, we get the theme musically, and then we get the blue text. It's always identical. And to see Woody Harrelson's name there just was awesome for me. Thought it was really exciting. Tim, who you got? Who did I eliminate there?
You did. You eliminated Beckett, which is my one of the two. My second one was Dryden Voss. I just love the character so much. I think his little blade swords are awesome. You know, I love how he like kind of gets that a little what is it, electric charge? What's on the?
Yeah.
What technically they do. I mean, that's what it seems
Plasma,
like to me.
something like that.
They're almost like mini forms of lightsabers. Just a touch of the visual on them, right?
And I
With
love
the
how
red.
he uses them, like the fight scene when he's fighting Han. It's just, I think it's cool. I think he plays a good character, and he kind of reminds me of like a mafia boss in a way. And I really like that he even elaborates, like, I'm not, like, there's someone else that I have to answer to, like, and then you kind of see that later on. I just love the character so much.
So what's funny is I never picked up on that in that first viewing. He's like, you know who I answer to, and I just never thought twice about it.
Right.
But watching it back and hearing that line early-ish in the movie, I'm like, oh, it's Darth Maul.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, I thought it was Darth Vader at first, because I was like,
Sure.
oh, like maybe that's
Yeah.
who it is.
Or,
So I
or
wasn't
even like
I didn't know
Tarkin
what
or
to expect.
something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was sick, I gotta say. They dived just enough into the Empire here to keep me my interest peaked, so to say. Is there that moment in the movie for you? Anything that sticks out? It could be small. It could be a musical cue. It could be a line. Anything come to mind? I do have one if you need me to go first, and I kind of touched on it already.
Go for it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Han seeing the Falcon for the first time, because the Falcon in itself is like a character in this movie, and we joked about it at the beginning, but with the Steelbook case, that's a character. That it's Han, it's Chewie, and the Falcon, and how they come together. It's so special in Star Wars lore for so many people, and the way Han sees it and falls in love immediately, and even says to Lando, I've got it bad for the Falcon, and the feeling is mutual. I love that cockiness. That's it's textbook Han Solo. I feel like also, by the way, before we get into your moments, we haven't talked maybe enough about Alden in this role. He gets the dialect down. He sounds like a younger Han. He winks just like him. The way he walks, the way he holds his belt, the way he even unhooks his blaster. All of it is very detailed and very much how I would imagine a young Harrison Ford would have handled that role prior to A New Hope. But the musical score in that moment offsets it big time for me. It's just a grand, beautiful thing. I get goosebumps every time I listen to it. Whoever wants to go next, your moment of the movie.
I'll go. I have a longer moment. My moment is the entire Falcon scene where he's driving the Maelstrom. Yeah, I feel like that whole sequence is awesome. I love when he flips the Falcon and knocks the TIE fighter into the rock. Like, I just feel like, that was really well done, because you kind of see him flying for the first time and see that, hey, he actually is as good of a pilot as he's saying he is. And I just like that whole sequence. So, and I love when you kind of go, what was that thing, like a Kraken? Like, what technically was that?
I don't know the name for that, but yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's kind of like a space slug.
It was awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I did not expect to see it. I was like, Whoa, shit.
Some of that was from the Clone Wars too, by the way. Like some of that, the
Oh, okay.
Maelstrom is a thing there. It's not super prominent, but like there are elements that were like taken right from that. I do like the urgency there, where the Falcon's about to fall into nothingness, and
Yes.
then the way they get it out is kind of hysterical. And of course, it fails to jump into light speed. It has
Yeah.
to, right? It's classic Millennium Falcon. Tim, that's a good moment. John, anything come to mind for you?
To me, it's just the end sequence in general. All of the twists, the final fight with Dryden Voss at the end there, and the way that we just finally, everyone's turned on each other. In that we get to reveal that what's her name, the first big bad, Infus Nest, that we get her reveal who she is. That kind of sets up the ending, and then we get the double crossing and all that stuff. I just thought I think it was the strongest part of the movie to me, narratively, is the ending. I thought it was all well done.
I like that a lot too. In just a moment here, we're gonna get into the officially unofficial rankings here for the Star Wars movies here and what we've seen so far. This is movie number 10 for us. We've got one to go in episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, which we're going to watch live in person with Tim for the first time. It's going to be awesome. Want to just mention that this show, again, is sponsored by 26 Shirts and our friends over there. They've got some incredible stuff going on. I've got my Buffalo Nintendo shirt, the Buffalo Marvel shirt on Baba Yaga over there. And then Tim's got the Buffalo Sega shirt. Go check out their merch line. There's no shortage of amazing stuff, especially if you are a part of the Bills Mafia. Proceeds from every sale go to a charity, an individual in need, or a family in need. They have raised over $1.4 million to date directly to those beneficiaries. So God bless those guys. Del Reed, awesome partner of the show, awesome friend. Glad to know them again. 26shirts.com. John, I'm going to pass it over to you. I'm very intrigued to see where we go with these rankings here with Solo, a Star Wars story.
Dude, I have no clue. I have no clue where this is going to go. I don't even know where I'm going to put it. Oh, Solo.
Yeah, I don't even know where I'm going to put it.
All right, so current rankings for people maybe listening, not seeing the visual we have up here. Number 1, we have Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, we have Rogue One. Number 3, we have The Force Awakens. Number 4, we have The Last Jedi. Number 5, we have A New Hope. Number 6, we have Revenge of the Sith. Number 7, we have Return of the Jedi. 8, Attack of the Clones. And 9, The Phantom Menace. Ooh, where do we go with Solo? Joe, do you move Solo up the list at all? I feel like I remember you saying that Solo would rank last for you, right? Is that true?
I would say, for the sake of this exercise that we're about to partake in, let's put it at 10.
Okay, we'll start at 10. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like there's so much we like about these movies, and again, Joe, I've come so full circle on where you are with Star Wars. I just love Star Wars. I understand all of the flaws with the prequels and stuff like that. I just love it though. It's Star Wars. It's so much fun.
That's where I'm at, and I think also we feel kind of similar for the most part about the MCU when we do MCU review. Like, okay, even the lower tier or worst movies, like it's fine.
Right.
Or when you get mid tier, it's like, holy crap, it's still a really good movie. Look at the 10 movies ahead of it.
Right.
So
I think the mid tier in the MCU is very representative of this whole list. Like the bottom of the MCU, there are some bad movies and some movies that are like really, really don't hold up with the rest of them. But that mid tier of the MCU, when you start talking about so like that I don't know, like that 10 through 16 tier in the MCU, that's kind of where like this is. It's like everything's really good. Like sure, there's standouts, but like it's Star Wars. We love it all for better or worse. But Solo, well, let's start at 10. Who's tossing it above the Phantom Menace?
I'll put it above the Phantom Menace for me.
Tim will.
I don't know if you guys will, because I know you love the prequels. So,
shit, man.
John, do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
No,
I don't want you to go first now. I take that back because now it's on me.
I can't believe I got him.
Oh no, I knew it. I knew you weren't gonna do it.
Okay.
It's so tough because when we get here and I start to struggle with ranking this stuff, I start to dissect what does the question mean. Like what are we ranking here? What are the better movies, or what do I like better? What would I rather watch? And then I kind of lean towards more like what do I like better, and what do I want to toss on again, rather than like. I think Solo is a better film and is more well put together than The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. but I don't think I like it more.
So John, for what it's worth, you do obviously what you want.
Right.
But when I was thinking about this, because I was like, all right, I know I'm towards the bottom of the list with this. I don't know if I could get it above Phantom Menace. Like, okay, let's pit it against Phantom Menace. That's what is at the bottom right now. For me, there's a lot of things that stand out in my head or my memory with Phantom Menace. And if you were to say, Joe, go watch a Star Wars movie, just one, just for the night, we're not doing a rewatch, I would pick Phantom Menace. I think about the lightsaber duel, even the pod race sequence. There's so much in terms of stakes in that movie. It doesn't lessen, I guess, the importance of Solo, but nothing in this movie happens that we absolutely need to see. And nothing, I think you said it maybe earlier, or someone said it on this podcast, that there's not a lot of highs in this movie. It's consistent. Right. It's consistently pretty good. But at the end of the day, I'm sitting here saying, yeah, Woody Harrelson's character, what's his name? Beckett? I could tell you so many of the stupid side characters that don't mean anything, that are terrible CG as we would deem them in Phantom Menace. I'm like, yeah, I would rather watch Phantom Menace, and I think that's where I get to.
Yeah. At the end of the
Duel of
day,
the Fates.
I have
think
to
about that.
Right. I have to weigh both of those things. Like when I try to rank these personally, I do try to weigh both. Like if we're talking about a movie that's just so objectively better than the other, maybe I have a little difference in opinion. Maybe that comes into play. But I think here with Star Wars, I keep it at 10. I think that I just like the prequels better. I just like everything else about Star Wars better than I like Solo. So I wouldn't put it ahead of Phantom Menace.
So for what it's worth, I felt the same way as Joe. It was very close for me, but overall, I think I like this movie better. I just don't. I like parts of the Phantom Menace, but I don't love the whole movie. And I could see myself, again, I kind of said this every time we've done these. I'm trying to take the movie for what it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I didn't feel like the Phantom Menace was part of the trilogy, or the whole series, I might feel a little differently if this was an essential piece, but I was close to not putting it above the Phantom Menace. It was 50-50 for me. Mm-hmm. Honestly, more maybe of a recency bias. We talked a little bit about that. I just watched it, so I enjoyed it. Only seen it once, but I haven't seen the Phantom Menace very much either. So
yeah, totally fair. Totally fair. It's
that's as far as it goes for me. I would not have put it above Attack of the Clones. I would not even think about it.
So. In my head, if I was going ahead of Phantom Menace, I was also going ahead of Attack of the Clones. To me, those movies are very similar in terms of what I like about them and what I think about them quality wise. It is those two prequel movies are very similar to me. So it would have been all or nothing in that sense, for me at least. But it comes down to the fact that I just like the prequels better than I like Solo. There's more.
Don't get me wrong. My Star Wars movie needs to have a good lightsaber duel in it.
Right? Exactly.
Some type of lightsaber battle.
It's a big deal for me, for sure.
So,
it's part of the fun. It's part of the fun.
That's why it was tough for me to want to put it at 9. But like I said, I was close.
So we've got one episode left. I mean, until the next Star Wars movie, which we don't have a date for, really.
Yeah.
We think it's going to be maybe the Rogue Squadron movie from Patty Jenkins of Wonder Woman fame. Maybe in a few years. That was originally slated for next year, but not holding my breath right now. That being said, if I don't do a Jedi mind trick now, I'm not doing it for a while, probably. Right?
Oh, yeah. You don't have very many opportunities coming up to do so.
So we have 2 each. I know the premise here is a little bit silly for what I'm about to do, but I looked through our list. We got Empire, Rogue One, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, New Hope, Revenge, Return, Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, Solo. I don't know that I care enough about a lot of those to change them. I might want to use one now. I might want to use one next week because it's going to be a long time again before we get to use these. So I'm going to try. I'm going to give this a try right now to go Jedi mind trick. We're going to try to get Force Awakens back above Rogue One.
Wow. Yeah, I knew that's where you were going with it, and I respect it. I respect it. Man, if only we could go back to the day Rogue One came out and ask that question. If we could just go back pre Last Jedi and then ask that question, and maybe
pre Rise of Skywalker,
possibly.
Possibly. I'm just saying, I don't know that I've got enough juice or clout to get there, but I'm not just going to leave this on the table.
Right,
especially if I believe it.
For what it's worth, I on the poll I did vote Force Awakens above Rogue One.
Interesting.
Great. So I got one. I got two.
Got two.
Three. There we go. We got 3 votes.
You got me for sure. I'm there. Okay. So yeah. So if you somehow stumbled into this series on the second to last episode, we'll explain real quick. A Jedi mind trick. We all get 2 of them, and it is our attempt to change the ranking. So if there's a movie you don't like where it is, if it's touching another movie, you can attempt to get them to flip. So in this case, Joe wants The Force Awakens ahead of Rogue One. So he doesn't just get that automatically by doing his Jedi mind trick. We have to put a poll up on Twitter. So if you go to Twitter, we are at _Geekiverse. The poll will be up 3 days. So if you see this right when it goes up, you've got 3 days. It'll be there. For some further background, this has happened already. We originally had The Force Awakens ranked ahead of Rogue One. That was in the books. But JT, another member who's not here right now, he used his mind trick and he was successful. The people did agree that Rogue One should be ahead of Force Awakens, so it's already been tampered with. He's trying to undo it.
He was the only episode he was on for, right?
I think so.
And
He might have messed up your lives and then left.
Yeah, that's what he did. He dropped the grenade, the thermal detonator.
Yeah.
So, I think this is
Rock.
the first time in Star Wars or MCU reviewed history that we've tried to reverse a snap or
I did it with Black Panther and Guardians like a few weeks ago.
I remember that.
We did.
Yeah, we had Guardians ahead of Black Panther. JT snapped Black Panther and was successful, and then I tried to snap back Guardians over it. Yeah, so yeah, I did try to.
Oh my gosh!
I did try
totally
to snap
out of
back.
my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was unsuccessful.
Next question. Do you guys think there would be any chance? All right, I got 2 questions. First, let's start here. That Revenge of the Sith could hop A New Hope.
I think it's possible. I think it is possible.
I don't think so.
I do. I think it's possible.
Interesting.
A lot of people do love Revenge of the Sith.
Dude,
I think the movie gains steam every year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Honestly,
dude, wait.
If you could have waited. If you could have waited.
I can.
And Obi-Wan comes out.
Yeah.
The hype. I got another
You could do
week.
a special episode. You know, you could host a quick 10-minute snap.
Yeah. Mind trick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my thought there. I think I know your opinion, but is there a chance of getting Attack of the Clones ahead of Return of the Jedi?
Nope.
No.
I don't think
No
so
way.
either.
No chance.
What's going to happen is it's going to be 7 years from now, and I'm going to text from Joe, hey, I got to do my Jedi mind trick. Hop on.
People love Return of the Jedi with good reason, but they only think about the epic moment at the end with Luke and Vader. I don't think they think of the rest of the movie, and I think there's some shortcomings.
Yeah,
but that's just my elevator pitch.
I think there's only 3 possible snaps that could be one right now.
It's not much. Like the MCU list, we could go crazy, but here I'm like, I think everything's just about set in stone.
I think that A New Hope.
I want to bring one up.
I think A New Hope could. I think A New Hope could hop Last Jedi. I think that I think that would happen.
Yeah.
I think that what was my second one? Return of the Jedi could go over Revenge of the Sith. I think that's possible.
Oh yeah.
And then also I think Solo probably could hop.
I mean, I think some people have Return of the Jedi. What, like 3, 4, maybe?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For sure.
They put the original trilogy.
I'm shocked at how low it is.
I am.
I didn't expect it.
Solo would destroy Phantom Menace in a poll on Twitter.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that we got it where we got it is amazing. Yeah, John, I wasn't even thinking the way you were thinking. I was just like thinking personally.
Right.
I was like, all right. Like, is it crazy to say that I think Rogue One could hop Empire?
I don't think it's crazy. No, I don't think so.
I don't agree with it.
No, agreed.
I
Yeah.
don't think it could happen.
But people
I think it could.
like would kill for that movie.
Yeah. I think those are your clear 1 and 2, like in the Star Wars fandom right now, right? Like I think that's like
I think so.
Ubiquitous. So I'm having issues with that word right now.
Rogue One is like the modern view of Empire.
Right,
to me.
exactly.
Like, people feel like they put it in the same category. So, all right. That's what I got.
Fun.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the official ranking. Now we got Solo at 10. Don't think it's going anywhere but the bottom of the list. But we'll see. We have one more of these left. We've got episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Wow.
Long time coming.
Tim's first viewing. I don't think we've nailed that home enough. This is going to be the first time Tim watches Rise of Skywalker.
watching Rise of Skywalker so much. I'll leave my opinion for the movie, but it still feels so fresh to me every time I watch it. And without spoiling, the way that movie starts off, holy crap. Tim, you are in for a ride, I
I have
think.
not even seen a single clip.
Are you serious?
We're gonna have some fun
trailer?
with that.
Nothing.
All right, we got to make this happen.
I've done a very good job of avoiding it because when it was released, I didn't see the episode 8. I saw episode 8 after I found out that was coming.
Yeah.
So I never watched the trailer because I didn't want to get spoiled.
Oh
So I haven't watched the trailer. I haven't seen a clip on Twitter.
It's gonna be
because
fun.
I didn't have Twitter at the time.
There are some moments in that movie that rank in like the highest of the high in my Star Wars memory.
Let's wait. Let's get there. Save it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done opposed to now, like we were talking about, we went and saw Multiverse of Madness. I couldn't even open up my app on Twitter without seeing a friggin' spoiler.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful I didn't have Twitter at the time when the movie came out, because I would have for sure saw spoilers. So
right. If you're not seeing that stuff opening weekend, you just gotta stay off social media.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode of Star Wars Reviewed. We talked about Solo, a Star Wars story. We had a good time doing it. Even though we enjoyed the movie, we've ranked it 10 out of 10 so far, not in the review score, but in the actual rankings of the Star Wars movies.
We should tweet that out. So we gave Solo 10 out of 10.
We gave Solo a 10. Yes, I like that 100%. That's happening. So I need your help. I need your help. I need you all to get on Twitter. Go to @the_Geekiverse. If you feel passionately like I do, like John does, to a degree like Tim does about The Force Awakens, go vote in our poll. If you care for Rogue One, we'll ask you to wait 4 days to go check that out. But that being said, John, where can people find you on social media, and any plugs for the Geekiverse that you've got going on?
Yeah, you can find me at Disruptoid on just about everything. Follow the Geekiverse on TikTok. That's a fun thing that we do. If you like Star Wars, you will like our TikTok page for sure. We do a little guess the Star Wars character. You got 30 seconds. Joe and I have a blast with that. We're gonna see each other this weekend, so we're gonna record some more, and maybe even next week when we watch the movie. Hopefully, so we've got a bunch more coming. I'm gonna start thinking about some characters now, so that'll be good.
Gonna get deep. It's gonna be awesome. Tim, same question for you.
Heads and tails on pretty much everything. Find me on Twitch occasionally. It's been a little crazy of a year business-wise, so I haven't been able to be on much, but hopefully that's going to slow down a little bit. I'll get some more streams in. So I just got my Steam Deck, so, check out on TikTok. Might be, playing that a little bit more. So, but yeah.
Heck yeah.
If you like video games, check out our weekly talk show, Busy Sticks. And next week, we plan to pick Tim's brain a little bit about what is going on with the Steam Deck. He's got his hands on one. Super exciting stuff there.
Got it right in front of me. Little teaser here. Bam.
Look at that.
Yes, dude. You're definitely bringing that this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm gonna get some hands on. I'm gonna have some requests for some games for you to have loaded up on there.
Let me know.
It exists, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you've got your $5 plunked down for that, and hopefully it doesn't say Q4. We'll see what happens there. But also, if you like Marvel, check out. We just had kind of a spoiler cast of sorts, a review for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We recorded that right fresh off the heels of leaving the theater last week. You can check out that discussion at youtube.com/thegeekiverse. As always, we stream every show that we do nowadays at twitch.tv/thegeekiverse. Love for you to get in the conversation. We love chatting with you. It makes this even more fun, and we're passionate about what we do here, whether it's video games, Star Wars, or Marvel, you name it. So for Tim, for John, I'm Josiah. We'll catch you all next week, hopefully, for Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Have an awesome night. May the Force be with you.